I'm going across to Dr. Scott Mitchell, and I'm going to ask you probably a question that you may not really like to answer, but I'm going to ask it anyway. What is how do you see the role of big pharma playing out in all of this? I mean, the fact that the MAT plus protocol, I mean, you guys have been going on about it. You're, beating drums everywhere, and the Tamil Nadu government is, doing all sorts of things, with flooded with patients. Everyone's obviously in different parts of the world, you're finding that a particular set of things works. There's not a cure for the virus. We're not going to find a cure anytime soon. But this is about managing the disease. And all of you have found that certain things work, but this is not out in the mainstream. Why? What is the role of big pharma in this, Dr. Mitchell?
Okay, so just to correct one thing, I'm not actually based in the US. I'm actually from the UK. So I work in Guernsey, which is a small island just between UK and France. So just to correct that. So kind of my own story was going back probably to early mid-March, looking at how this virus pandemic was causing a lot of death, morbidity, etc. in China, and then subsequently in Italy. I think we didn't get a lot of information out of China as to exactly what was going on and what therapy were being given, but they actually had a document called the Shanghai Management Guideline, which, although it contains a lot of other things that probably don't work now, they were using methylprednisolone, ascorbic acid, vitamin C, and anticoagulants as well. So the problem is looking at the situation in Italy. They were just ventilating patients, really just giving supportive therapy early on, and the mortality rate and the utilization of ICU beds was just horrendous. So I thought, really, there must be something more we can think about doing. So kind of serendipity, I got in touch with Dr. Marek, who I come across his work on sepsis. For some reason, I kind of saw a similarity between this disease and sepsis in terms of the sort of hyperinflammation it causes, and that we have to calm that down. So just emailed him sort of mid-March, thinking my original question was actually, because it was early on and we're getting information from the WHO saying steroids shouldn't be used. My question to him as part of his therapy, should we be using steroids in this? At that point, it was still a bit unsure, but he got back to me with his whole, he had a whole strategy for going to treat this disease, which was based upon his originally hydrocortisone, ascorbic acid, and thiamine therapy for sepsis, which in his own studies and elsewhere has shown a huge reduction in mortality for sepsis. So I thought, this treatment is safe. It's not going to kill anyone, but it might show some benefit. And then just seeing how other people throughout the US, etc., have been getting great results for it. In particular, Dr. Verone in Houston, he's using this and got something like a 90%, 96% success rate in treating and discharging patients from his ICU. So going back to your sort of original question about big pharma, the problem with this therapy is it's all cheap drugs. Corticosteroids, heparin, low molecular weight heparin, ascorbic acid, vitamin C, and other vitamins and adjuncts as well. So there's no money to be made. So the money to be made isn't in those expensive designer drugs, such as the one that's hitting the news now, remdesivir, which there's been 2 or 3 trials, one in China that really didn't show any benefit, and another, I think, in the US that showed a reduction in time to recovery, but not really any statistical benefit on mortality. Yet they're now promoting this and selling it for something nearly like $3,200 for a 5-day course of treatment for very little cost benefit. So I think the answer to the question is big pharma. They obviously their bottom line is to make money. Us guys are, what we want to do is save lives, because if you look at the number of people that have died from this illness, you know, it's horrendous, and anything that might help, you know, is great. I just wanted to try and find something that, one, would keep people off ventilators and reduce the course and mortality of this illness. And I say the only thing that's really come out of big pharma is the remdesivir at the moment, and I say I don't think it's really of that much benefit, and certainly not at the amount of price they're asking people to pay for it in this condition.